So in this video we're going to talk about types, and we're only going to talk about a few types. The four types we're going to talk about are strings, numbers, lists, and dates. Again, there's a lot more types in Kotlin, but I'm just going to focus on these two. So let me give you an example of a string. Well, AJ is a string, right? A string could also be, like any number of characters. It could even be numbers, but inside the double quotes. It can also be under single quotes, but I think there's a I would use double quotes in Kotlin. You could do cool stuff in strings, right? So like, for example, what we did here is we can pass in a $, open curly brace, and a function call or anything in there, and close brace, and that will basically substitute the result of this in this whole string. And so if we pull this down to a placeholder variable, right, like greeting, this returns a string, and println also takes a string, right? So you could think of strings as just text. Okay, that's what a string is. And a string has cool things to do. It has a bunch of helper methods like contain, so like you can check if something returns something else, and a bunch of other stuff. You can do .length, which will return the number of characters in the length, right? And there's a lot of other things we can do. So that's a string. Next thing we're going to talk about is number. So number is a number, right? Let's just get a number, right? Simplest thing is an integer. So integers like return 0. 0 is an integer. -1 is an integer. 800 is an integer. There's some, you may notice some people also doing long, which basically allows you to go like further higher, right? If you just use int, I think there's a limit to how the biggest number in which you can return. If you use a long, you can go longer, and if you use big integer, you can even go even bigger there. But I'm just gonna stick with ints for now, and let's say this is get age in years, right? And let's say that I'm 38 years old. All right. What else? We have lists. So maybe we can say, private fun, get countries lived, right? And we can say it's a list of strings. So this is how in Kotlin you specify that it's a return type of list, and that each item in the list is a string. So you can say, you can return a list of USA and Canada, right? And that will be basically what a list is. Okay, dates. So we can say get birth date, right? And this would be there's several ways to talk about dates. Let's just use LocalDate for now. And as you see, when I just typed in LocalDate, it on the parentheses here, it includes like which library you're importing it from. A library is just, you could think of it as borrowing someone else's code, right? And so I'm borrowing java.times code, and you can see that there's an import statement which corresponds to, okay, cool, I'm going to work with this object from someone else's code, and java.time is someone else's code. And let's just say I'm going to put in my birth date now. So if I'm 38 and it's 2022, then I'm born in I can't do math, 84, right? So 2022, the first number is the year, second number is whatever birth date it is, so the second month, and the day of month, whatever, right? And we can say it's 1984, right? And then we return that, and there we go. And let's just see I think it's dot from probably, or of. Okay, so of is how you construct a local date. Okay, so those are dates. You could do cool stuff with dates, right? You can do, you know, dot minus days, which will take, you know, if I do minus days 5, then, you know, the new date that's returned would be 15, like February 15th of this year. And you can do a lot of cool stuff with dates. I'm not going to get into that yet. Okay. One more thing I forgot to mention are Booleans. So Booleans can either be true or false. So maybe you can say like get, let's see, is male, right? And you can return true, you can return false. Those are the two possibilities. And this will be helpful later on as we introduce if statements and branching logic, where, you know, the code would do one thing if one thing and the other if another. Okay? So now that we have these 5 types, we can put together a string that's like, hi, my name is AJ. I'm 38 years old. My birthday is this day. I lived in these 2 countries, and I am male, right? So we can say something like, you know, we can just write all that out. So let's actually do that. So let's get rid of hello world, and let's actually say my name is, okay, get name. Okay. And I'm going to have a new line here. And I'm going to say, I am, get age in years old, right? New line. I lived in, right? And you can print out the countries. And then period. And then my birth date is, right? Get birth date. And am I male? Right? Get is male. Cool. So if we run this file now, say we go to main, as just a quick reminder, our main function calls make introductions. If you click play, it's going to say all these things, right? My name is AJ. I am 38 years old. I've lived in these 2 countries. My birth date is blah. Am I male? True. So yeah, hope this gives you a quick introduction to 5 types. Again, there's more than this, but there's 5 types. And hopefully it gives you a sense of like what we can work with in the code with Kotlin. Hope you learned something. Talk to you in the next video.